Anyway, we're talking, Jason.
Excellent stuff. Dave Evans, how's it going with you these days?
Good, mate. In Australia, and the sun's been shining, apart from the little storm last night.
Wh-
We're coming to summer here. You see, you guys are going to winter over there.
What's in line for 2012?
Well, I'm speaking to some friends in New Jersey. They're putting together a band for me there, and they're going to be getting some shows for me up that way, New Jersey, New York. So later next year, I'll be heading back to the US.
And with that, Dave, will you have a new album coming out soon?
There's talk about it. We'll see. I've spoken to my songwriting partner, Mark Tinson, here, and he's got some ideas, and so have I. But we might be looking for a new label in the US before we do that. So yeah, there's still some spark there, mate.
Would you say with your career and stuff, the touring's been changing a lot, and with the economy around the world, how's it going for you, would say?
Yeah, it's the same all over the world, really. It's been a bit tough, as most bands and artists know. But you've just got to, go where they keep playing the music, and where they're going to pay you. Obviously, there's a lot of shows where there are door deals and this kind of thing, and a lot of bands, as you know, are playing for virtually nothing. But obviously, that's not the way to go. Same here in Australia. There's a lot of shows that are similar, but the big venues, they'll still book you, if you pull a crowd for them.
Your last album, Judgment Day, 2008, incredible work you did on that, and Sinner as well. The song titles are excellent. The song and the music structure is great. Where you get your inspiration to do this type of music?
It's just part of my life story, Jason. that's where I sort of get the inspiration from. Really, it's you get your ideas mostly from what you've done in your life and what you're doing in your life. That's why the conviction, in the with the lyrics and the how we put the music down, and the boys here that I use in Australia, they know how to interpret my music. Mark Tinson, the guy that I write my songs with, I've known him for a long time, since the Rabbit days here in Australia, and we're pretty much in tune with what we both want. He writes fantastic riffs. Most of the riffs that you hear in the music on both of those albums, they're all Mark Tinson's riffs. I call him the riff master. He's just fantastic. So.
And Dave, have you seen in the land of AC/DC, Mark Evans, former bassist, just released or is releasing a book? Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, he's doing the rounds actually here in Australia on different TV shows and that kind of thing. I haven't read the book as yet, but I know a lot of people have been asking me for quite a few years to write a book too, which is the original forming of the band before Mark, of course, but Mark was in the band after me. And there's certainly a story to tell of that turbulent 12 months, exciting and turbulent 12 months. A lot happened, and there's a lot of anecdotes there, of course, that the fans don't know about that happened. On that particular adventure. So I'll probably put something down on paper and approach a publisher or two, because the fans they deserve to know the full story and what happened. And some funny things happened too, of course. So yeah, I guess it's about time I did something like that too.
Guaranteed. And what I find really interesting is we can see some Dave Evans with AC/DC on YouTube, but on the official DVDs, where is Dave Evans? We're not seeing you playing that song, Can I Sit Next to You, Girl?
Yeah, I know. Well, you have to ask AC/DC that. A lot of fans are very disappointed, really, because the whole story's not been told. Because there was the era, of course, when I was with the band, and the other guys too, Colin Burgess, the original drummer, and people like Larry Van Creet and these guys. They all deserve to be heard and their story told, because especially the five founding members. There's no AC/DC without the five founding members, of course, and it's really been up to me over the last few years and that to really get the story of Larry and Colin and a couple of the other boys too, like Noel Taylor and Neil Smith. They were in the band for a while as well. In fact, they were in the band when we did our change from the jeans and T-shirt into the now famous schoolboy uniform with Angus Young and the other weird and wonderful outfits that we wore at that time to make that mark and to get a hit record out, which we did. So they were important for that particular show we did in Victoria Park in Sydney, where we walked out with our new outfits on and heard the gasps of the crowd and the cheers, and so their story needs to be told as well.
Did you play much gigs with AC/DC in your days?
Yeah, we were working pretty flat out. From the word go, from our very first show at the famous Checkers nightclub in Sydney, New Year's Eve there, we were working flat out all the time. In fact, when the last tour before I split with the band, we were doing 3 shows a day. We were doing like the lunchtime show, early evening show, late show. I mean, they really worked us, very, very hard. In fact, at one stage, I lost my voice completely when we were in Perth, and there's a couple of shows I just couldn't do because I couldn't even talk, let alone sing. That's how hard they were working us.
Do you think there's a lot of unreleased audio with your era?
Not really. There wasn't a lot of audio. Well, there's a couple of songs that I recorded with the band that's never been released, like Rock and Roll Singer, Soul Stripper, Little Lover, that kind of thing. We were already recording for our first album. We had Rockin' in the Parlour down and and The Christ Next Year's Girl, of course, and we were just about to put down Baby Please Don't Go. So we had, and I'd written a couple of songs with the band too. Sunset Strip was one song that I wrote with them, and Fell in Love. So we were well on our way to do our first album. The band was rocking. We had a hit record out. We were doing really well. But because of personalities and that kind of thing, which happens in the best of families, if you know what I mean.
Right.
It didn't work out, and Bon Scott joined the band and re-recorded some of the stuff that I'd done, and also recorded "Baby Please Don't Go," my version with the band. But he kept pretty faithful to how I used to do it. So yeah, there is some audio. I don't know whether or not Alberts have still got it. They probably still have it in the vault somewhere. I know the fans would love to hear Soul Stripper and Rock and Roll Singer, but that's up to them, mate.
And do you think someday in the future we will hear it?
I don't know. I'd love it to, the fans to hear it, but because Bon Scott did it and it was released with him, I don't think the fans will probably ever hear it, which is a pity, because they were very, very popular songs when I was performing with the band, of course. So there you have it.
It was like a whole different world back then.
It was. I mean, live music was everywhere. I mean, people loved music. Everybody, the punters out there, they knew all the bands, every members of every band, that kind of thing. There were so many shows to do, and it was all original music too, by the way. If you weren't in an original band, the record labels wouldn't even look at you. Different today. Most of us, and every band had virtually their own sort of sound, if you know what I mean. And it was exciting. You put on like 5 different albums and 5 different types of rock. It was just very, very exciting for music lovers. Today's music with the hip hop generation, it's all the same thing, boring, forgettable stuff. Rap, it's been around for how long? 20 years.
Right.
It's the same nothingness. There's nothing memorable about it. There's but back then you were actually writing your own material and trying to sort of make it a little bit more interesting than the other bands around and that kind of thing. It was exciting times for musicians and the audiences, of course.
Now, Dave, do you think it's going to go back just like it was in the beginning, that we will see that circle again?
I don't think so, really. I wish I could say yes, but rock will never die. Of course, this kind of music, it pumps all over the world. People love it still. This kind of hard rock. The audiences, whenever they're there, they pump it. But you got to get them through the door. That's the thing. And some of the audiences are aging a little bit, but it's nice when I'm actually in Europe, for instance. You get a lot of the young kids and their parents and coming to the shows. So it's a lot of the young kids are still into it. But all you got to do, mate, is get people through the door. You know, whether they've heard this music or not, just get them through the door and they just go off. It's just that kind of genre, this hard rock. It's not heavy metal that I do. It's hard rock. It's the traditional heavy hard rock with that pounding beat, and you just can't beat it, you know.
And Dave, like with the internet and stuff, do you think that will, make it worse or better? Because I mean, to get the people through the door, if they're watching it on YouTube, they will not go to the show.
Well, that's true too. People can just hook into the internet or that kind of thing. So back the year that we're talking about, that you brought up, yeah, it was on the radio, like mainstream radio, and there's a couple of TV shows around. But if you wanted to get into the band, you had to go and see them live, and it was a great experience to go and see the bands live, because they were really great performers back in those days. I mean, when I was pretty young, in my teens, and that, you had bands like Led Zeppelin and Free and all these great bands that were not only just great music, really fantastic performers, because they were performing so much, and they really put on a fantastic show. It was just a magic time to go and see live bands on the big arenas too, of course, the showgrounds and that kind of thing, packed crowds. It was just fantastic, because you had 5 different bands playing, and as I said before, 5 different types of rock, Mm-hmm. And you got a real show. You got your money's worth. It was just fantastic.
And online, the people can find you at daveevansrocks.com.
Yep, that's right. And my Facebook as well. It's Facebook.com/Dave Evans Rocks. And
you participate yourself on Facebook so the fans can actually talk to you?
Yeah, I do. I do interact with them all. I enjoy doing that, just chatting with them. And they love it too, of course, because they know it's actually me, which is sort of different, really. I do get time to go through it, even though I get heaps of mail on there. Even if I just say hi, yes, thanks, or whatever, it makes a difference to the fans. I'm not on Twitter because I haven't got time to do everything.
Right.
And I don't go on MySpace anymore. They changed MySpace, and so I've really let that alone, like a lot of people have. But Facebook's a great interaction, and have a bit of fun with the fans too. Can have a bit of a joke and that kind of thing as well. And they really appreciate it.
Excellent stuff. Well, Dave, thanks for taking this call. And next time I'll make you the call.
And hopefully the phone's going to be working too, Jason, so I appreciate your time, mate.
All right. Well, you have a great day, because right now it's day and here's starting to be night, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Good on you, Jason. All the best to you, mate.
All right. You have a good one. See you.
No worries. Bye.